So I just deleted this off my Instagram. And I'm about to add another square to my Instagram. I want it to be, I got my meme here. So now I'm going to put something Virgo-y, like a Virgo-y quote or whatever. Good morning. I'm over here. Hold up, pause. Got the notes, got the coffee. So what's happening? It's Monday. So I just deleted this off my Instagram. And I'm about to add another square to my Instagram. I want it to be, I got my meme here. So now I'm going to put something Virgo-y, like a Virgo-y quote or whatever. Good morning. I'm over here. Hold up, pause. Got the notes, got the coffee. So what's happening? It's Monday. So, yes, a new episode of the Virgo Viewpoint is coming out. I wasn't planning on writing it right this moment. I was trying to put together my site visually. And e-commerce wise, we got this dude all up here pacing in this empty ass parking spot by the window, which is crazy. We got the two detectives over my shoulder sitting up here talking about whatever and the statute of limitations and bullshit. And then there's the news. So I've been keeping an eye on the news. I see that the New York Times is the New York Times editorial staff. They're all voting for Elizabeth Warren and Klobuchar. I think I'm saying it right. Klobuchar or I want to say Klobuchar. Elizabeth Warren and her running mate. How about that? Her running mate. They're both women. And I was like, okay, look at y'all, New York Times. I see what you're doing. So that's that. And then I saw this with Carlos Santana. I love Carlos Santana, y'all. And I'm like, oh, wow. He's sharing his testimony. I thought that was really powerful and dope. There's a lot of people that I'm just, like, blocking because they are toxic. Just in the sense of, you know, I'm just... There's energy I don't want around me. Period. Under no circumstances. Like, the energy is just, like, negative and unproductive, and I just don't want it around me. So, I've been, like, really deleting it again. I had a good time at the Laugh Factory. I randomly decided to go. I haven't been to the Laugh Factory in a long time. And, from the moment I got there, it just, like, popped off. Like, it wasn't even, like... You know, like, switch it. I was up at a DJ booth, living my little life. But, the moment I got there, it just, like, popped off. Like, I walked up there, and, I went to go get my little comic ticket. And they was like, yeah, you good. Just, like, leave us your backpack or whatever. And I was like, I don't want to do that, but I'll do it, whatever. And so I gave him, I left it at the ticket booth. And as I was like, I'm keeping my laptop and shit, though, because I don't know you motherfuckers. And as I'm taking it out, DJ Sidekick come in, and he was like, where the fuck you been? Where the fuck you been? I was like, I've been on hiatus. I was trying to figure out some shit and whatever. He was like, man, leave the hiatus shit alone. Come upstairs. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, okay, I see. There's a disco invite or whatever. And I was like, man, it ain't, you know, I had to see what the hell was going on or whatever. He's like, man. But that was hilarious. He walked in, he was like, man, where the fuck you been? I was like, I didn't know people gave a fuck like that. I felt like he was my father or some shit. I was like, oh. Like, it's like that. Man, where the fuck you been? Get upstairs. Okay, well, damn. Oh shit. This is happening right now. This fire.
2 weeks. The first initial 2 weeks.
This is happening. Like, it was like a raging fire. I'm in Hollywood right now. And so I was like, damn, that's like happening up the street. That was weird. But yeah. And so like I went upstairs, of course, and Ron G was hosting, and he was killing the show. Like, killing the show. I was like, look at Ron G. Like, Ron G always been funny. Like, it's not like he's not funny. He wouldn't be hosting like Chocolate Sundays as long as he's been hosting without it being good. Because honestly, they go through hosts not fast, but like, you know, after about a year or two, you know, they switch up hosts. And I was like, looking, I was like, wait, Ron G been at this room for a little minute. Like, he probably been the host for about 3 years now. Because I was like, before him, it was like Esau, and it was something else, and like, and they was like switching or something. I was like, but he's been like holding it down by himself for a little while. And I was like watching this stuff. I was like, yeah. And you know, he's great with the crowd work and like mixing his material around so it don't sound like so formulaic and, you know, whatever. But I was like, he been holding this shit down for a hollow minute. It's been like 3 years. He didn't had that room since 2016 at least. And he was getting down. And so I was enjoying myself because it just felt good to laugh. One thing about me, I'm not a hater. First of all, let's go all the way back. I love comedy. I love comedy. Man, I love to laugh. You know what I mean? I don't need to even like the comedian. You know what I'm saying? Because who gives a fuck? Like, this is real life. Everybody's not your friend. You don't need to know everybody. It's not that serious. Like, when it comes down to it, funny is funny. Period. Funny is funny. And that's all I care about. You know what I mean? Because I like to laugh. So it's like, I want people to be funny more than I want them to not be funny. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get nothing out of hating on people or no shit. I could care less. I would prefer people be funny because I want to laugh. I like laughing. You know what I mean? So it's like when people are funny, man, I give them their props. Like, it doesn't take anything from me to be like, man, that motherfucker funny or that, you know, whatever. I like laughing. So I want everybody to be funny. You know what I'm saying? Because I want to laugh as much as possible. So I'm up there, like, and what was funny was Sidekick, who's not the comic, he's the DJ. He had me laughing first. It was just looking on his face. The moment he saw me, it's like that conviction look, like that, like when you get convicted in your spirit. He walked in, he looked, where the fuck you been? Like, what are you doing out here? Like, get your ass upstairs. Like, you're a comic, you know what this is. Like, stop it. Like, I don't even care. It's like it was like literally like it was so funny because it was like the end of bullshit. It was just so funny. He was just like. Like, who cares? Like, I don't even care what the fuck we got. Get your ass upstairs. You're a comedian. Get the fuck up here. And and then he came back with like a plate of chicken wings and pizza. Like, what a nigga came up here with food. It was hilarious. And so Ryan G was like killing it, and I was like, okay, all right, Ronald. Like when Ron is like hilarious and shit, I call him Ronald. It's just what the fuck I do. Okay, Ronald. All right, Ronald. All right. And then there was like there was this white comedian who went up. He brought him up first, and he was from Canada. I'd never seen him, but he was hilarious. He was talking about, you know, he was deaf, and he had his hearing aids in, and he was like doing his whole like routine about like without these, I wouldn't even be able to hear y'all, blah blah blah. But he was really, really, really funny. And he was talking about like how living with the disability has like affected his life and him and his wife and like all this other stuff. And he was hilarious. And while he was on stage, Ron ends up coming upstairs. We end up chatting over by the DJ booth. And I was like, dude, you can held this room down, like blah, 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 whatever. He's like, man, it's good to see you. It's my Ron G impersonation. Ron frown when he gets, man, it's good to see you. That's what's up. That's what's up. Man, take care. That's good. That's good. I remember how I spoke about Kojo, the British comedian who like set me up with hella rooms and shit when I went to London. I ran into Kojo. I was like, I felt like I talked you up. I was like, you here? You living in LA? He was like, no, actually, I'm in town for the week. I was like, oh shit. He's amazing, you guys. He's super, super cool. And he has like the cutest brand new baby, like cutest little boy. I believe he's Nigerian. I think that's his cultural background or what have you. But super, super cool. He actually was up in there. I was like, what? I was like, I feel like I talked you up. And so like he was there, and it was cool to see him. Good little vibe. It was just good running into people like with positive souls, basically, good spirits. And then my homie BT showed up. And then when BT showed up, it was a wrap. He had a brand new scarf and shit. I was like, look at you, nigga. All right. BT he had a brand new scarf and he had like, I was like, okay, you styling, shit. And that was good. That was good things. He showed me where I could go to like grab a mic. He was letting me know like new people or whatever who had a room. Because I was like, I ain't been around. I don't know what's happening, what's popping. And so, like, BT hit me to, like, some places and shit. And I was like, solid. And then, out of nowhere, like, Ron goes back up to host. And he's like, hey, guys, we got a guest that just walked in. He was like, we're honored to have him. We know what's going to happen. Everybody give it up Kevin Hart. I was like, well, of course this will be the day that just Kevin walks in. And Kevin, like, literally got up there and was like, man, we was in Culver City. And I was like, you know what, fuck that. Let's go do some comedy. It was like, who's in Culver City? He's like, and I told my wife, no, I think I want to get up there. And he started talking about like what life was like since the accident, and like, just in his phone trying out all his like new material or whatever. And I ain't on front. It was funny. Like, it was fun. Especially that that bit he got where he was like, he's like, I don't like the name drop. But this next joke he's like, I don't like the name drop, but this next joke I kind of got to do for the story. So I'm at Seinfeld's house, and everybody he's like, I got to do it. And he's like talking about how Seinfeld had this brick oven pizza shit, and like he explains like the whole shit and how it was like awesome, and it's like the hit of the night and the hit of the party. He's like, he get in the car with his wife. I need one of those. And like goes through the whole story how he calls his contractor, you motherfuckers got something. Why ain't y'all tell me about the brick piece of it? And like that whole shit. That shit was funny. And he was talking about how he got to be humble. He learned how to be humble because the accident like had him in a situation where he couldn't wipe his own ass and shit. And he was like fucked up. He's like, his wife took full advantage of that. She was like, first I'm gonna bathe the baby, and then you got away. He's like, all I could do is sit there and be like, okay, it's fine. No, it's all right. He's like, it was humbling in the motherfucker, and it was good. It was hilarious. Like we was rolling. I was like, hey man, motherfucker came up in here and smashed. And so that was good. Like, as comedians, right? That's what it's about. That's why I'm so excited to see Eddie. I'm so, like, I can't fucking wait. Like, there's, like, all this, like, speculation and shit. But I can't wait. Like, that's what it's about. Like, I remember when Martin first came back. And Martin had, like, his hiatus and shit. And to be a person who grew up watching Martin, right? And, baby, we didn't get comics. We got into a full-on argument about who's the greatest of all time, who had the best specials, who had the best TV shows. And it was like a 6-way, 7-way comic argument in the back green room. I mean, just conversations that your family and other people that you associate with don't give a fuck about, but it matters to you. Because we was all passionate about this shit. But yeah, like, we was arguing that Martin was like one of the greatest shows of all time. Like, of all time. Like, it's like the greatest sitcom ever. Because, like, very rarely do you really get to see a sitcom where one character really carries the entire show. Like, everybody who was the supporting cast and everything, they're legendary. And what was so dope about what Bentley Cal Evans did with the show, there was always a story or a situation, but Martin brought that shit to life, and then he had like all his characters as well, you know. And we was talking about how, like, in the history of like sitcoms, number one, but then also black sitcoms, you know, like, that's like the most epic shit ever. And then, like, there was an argument where, no, because, you know, the Cosby Show and da-da-da-da-da. It's like, no, the Cosby Show is greatness. It's greatness. But the Cosby Show ain't better as Martin as far as, like, laughs and longevity and quotability. Like, you can quote them episodes. Like, they're like, you know, like, the New Jack City episode alone. Like, you know, just, like, when it comes to the Cosby Show, it was a family show with funny moments. You know what I'm saying? There was humor. There was humorous, and it was also the first of its kind, so it's like epic, it's like classy, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, as far as like ha funny, like I ain't never laughed, like it was like, that's like Martin, you know. And I also argued for Fresh Prince, right? And what we ended up talking about was like, nah, it's Martin. And then we got in a whole conversation. No, but that's just funny to black people. It was like the Cosby Show was funny to everybody. I was like, no. Martin dethroned Married with Children as the flagship show. Like, Martin was the show, G. And they were going back and forth, and it was like, you know, like all this, like, I'm like, no. There was a point in time where everybody was watching Martin. It was like, when it came to sitcoms and funny, it was Seinfeld, it was Cosby Show, it was Friends. Friends, like, they was getting like $1 million episode. Friends was doing ridiculous numbers. It was like, Fresh Prince got some burn up in there, and it was Martin. Like, Martin, like, had like, because Martin used to come on Thursdays, if I recall. You know, Cheers also was a part of that, like, NBC comedy lineup, like, joint. You know, and it's like, as far as everybody watching, you know what I'm saying? I was like, those was like the shows, and like we went back and forth. I was like, no. Because then you got to throw in like shows like Will and Grace at one point. You feel me? It was like, as far as like TV sitcoms are concerned, Will and Grace was up there. Motherfuckers was watching Will and Grace, but as far as like everybody, over encompassing everybody, Will and Grace ain't that show. Martin is. Like, you talking about something that like influences an entire generation, you know. And so then they was like pitting Martin against Cosby Show. I'm like, but Cosby Show went off the air. I'm like, but Cosby Show went off the air in '92. Martin didn't even start to '92. It's apples and oranges. Like, yes, Cosby is everything the Cosby Show was. It's everything the Cosby Show was. You feel me? But it wasn't competing directly against Martin, though. Like, it wasn't even on the air at the same time. You know, and we had to, like, Fresh Prince and Martin was on the air at the same time. You know, like, for, you know, some, you know what I'm saying? For, like, a few of these, because, like, Fresh Prince came on in '91. You know, and Martin went on to like '97. You know, they did like 5 solid seasons, and then, you know, it got weird when like Gina had to leave, and like there was episodes without Martin. We went back and forth. Like, that shit got to epic levels, and you know, like then we went to who specials did you pick? Top 5. Like, no bullshit. Like, we got all the way up into it. And I had to represent, because usually as the girl in the conversation, everybody wants to overtalk you and think that their logic is going to make sense until you can show up with the numbers and be like, but no, bitch, this is what's real. So, anywho, it just was exciting. It was exciting to see everybody, like, doing the work, especially since yesterday. Like, I came back yesterday. And I was just like, man, to not have done this in like 2.5, 3 years, and I'm like, I'm at home. I love this. This is what I do, and I love this, you know. And I don't mind doing the work. That's what makes it exciting to begin with. That's where you can tell like the real comics between like the bullshit. there's no problem doing the work. You're expecting the work, you know. And shit, like, even, you know, somebody is like as large as, you know, a Kevin Hart, who is, you know, considered like one of the people in the top spot, had his ass right up there with his phone. Okay, joke number one. Let's try this. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what we do. Martin did the same thing when he came back, and that was awesome to see. That was greatness, because to see somebody who like had everything as far as comedy concerned, because Def Jam wouldn't have been shit without Martin. Let's just start right there. It wouldn't have been shit without Martin. It was supposed to be Robin Harris' show. Robin Harris ain't make it. You know, it was a platform that was going to be, you know, for him. Martin came to that motherfucker and set a standard and beasted. Joe Torre did his thing. We're not going to take nothing away from Joe Torre, but everybody knows it wasn't the same Def Jam. It was not the same Def Jam when Martin left. Okay, and so there was the Def Jam. Then there was Martin the sitcom. Then there was Martin box office Martin. Like, you got to throw that in there, because we got into this whole conversation, this whole breakdown argument about Eddie Murphy versus Bill Cosby, and we was like, no, like, Bill Cosby is greatness. It's not to take anything away from Bill Cosby, but you are full of shit if you're not admitting Eddie Murphy was the game changer. What are we even talking about? Like, comedy wasn't even the same after Eddie Murphy. There's literally comedy pre-Eddie Murphy, post-Eddie Murphy. Like, he came in and by himself unilaterally changed the game. Even the way we do comedy is different because of Eddie. You know, and it was like, me and BT felt the same. We was on the same take. Real Battle, not Little Real. Real Battle's a comic from DC. There was a couple DC comics up in the place. And, you know, Martin's from DC, Dave Chappelle is from DC, you know, like, so, it was a couple DC comics up in there. And, who the fuck is BT? BT is from Sacramento. I think I was the only person up in there representing Chicago. But, yeah, we was, and there was like 4 other cats. I can't remember where they were from. One of them was from DC too. They had like a DC gang going. And like, we just was going off or whatever. And I was like, dude, no. There's pre-Eddie Murphy and there's post-Eddie Murphy. That, like, period. And then they was like, no, but like, Eddie Murphy was great. But I was like, no. Eddie Murphy is by far, bar none, the one comedian. If nobody else. When Eddie Murphy does an interview, everybody wants Eddie's secrets. Everybody wants to interview Eddie to ask him to, like, pick his brain of what does he think good comedy is? What advice can he give new comics? Everybody ain't hitting everybody with that. And it's unilateral. It's not unilateral. It's universal. It defies age. Okay, because you got comics that are of a different era asking him these questions. You got New Jacks asking him these questions. You got seasoned vets asking these questions. You got, you know, people of different races asking these, like, they're all asking Eddie. You know what I'm saying? They don't ask everybody, but they go, like, Stephen Colbert and his interview with Eddie is the most masterful one I've ever seen. He's like, you got any advice for new comics? And then he's like, you got any advice for comedians? And then he's like, I don't really like to give advice. He's like, what about an old comedian like yourself? And he kept pressing until he ended up getting Eddie to talk about why Dolomite was so dope. And Eddie was like, I mean, it's just, you just got to believe in yourself. And his belief in himself was so dope. And he was like, and that would be some advice that you would give to new comedians. And Eddie was like, yeah. He's like, I got you to give advice. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was masterful. If you haven't seen it, Google it. It's great. But it's like, you don't have that. Like, with all eras and ages, like, there's pre-Eddie Murphy, and then we started talking about box office, and then BT went off. Eddie Murphy's worst movies is better than Eddie Murphy Metro is better than what these other motherfuckers was doing. Eddie Murphy Showtime. He just started going down the list. It was hilarious. I was like, Bowfinger. And then somebody's like, now wait a minute, you can't tell me now. Like, it's like, dude, even his movies that, like, people didn't consider as successful still did better than other, like, man. And so, you know, I was like, where Cosby had Eddie is Cosby had more specials, because Eddie really only did 2, but Cosby had more specials and more Grammys. I think Cosby had something like 8 Grammys or something. It's like something fucking ridiculous. But so did Pryor had a lot of Grammys too. But yeah, I think Cosby had like 8 Grammys, comedy Grammys on his album, which is another thing. Y'all know, I told y'all, like, I'm like, I think I want to take it back to the vinyl game. Like, I'm motivated. Like, that shit was like cool putting that shit together. And I mean, it's also another way to use my broadcasting degree because, you know, fuck that. I was the bitch that used to do the audio levels and shit in the studio, so, you know. But, man, it was just, I was like, yes, it was a good time. They had a little after set or whatever that I was going to go to, but I was just like, I got a book bag. I ain't on my sexy shit. I wanna, no. I was like, when I get on my sexy shit, I'll go to shit like that again. But right now, I'm not in that vibe. I'm on that focus vibe right now, or whatever. But yeah, it was fly. And long story short, I can't wait to see like Eddie like work it out. And that's the thing, because I know it's gonna be good. And that was another thing we were talking about, because like I have I have an issue with comics that I have an issue with comics that just ain't, you know, number one, they don't respect people that have laid the groundwork for them to even be doing comedy in the first place. I have a real issue with that. But it's like, when people say, like, for instance, I've heard this from a lot of different places or whatever, quite a few, you know, time or whatever. I know what the fuck I said about Kevin. I know what I said. I stand by what I said. That still didn't take away from that motherfucker being funny. It didn't. He was hilarious. We got up there, like, we enjoyed ourselves on everything that he was working out. It was hilarious. It was. All the back prep and whatever, I don't care about that shit. I didn't give a fuck. I was in the mood to laugh, and I laughed thoroughly. But I can't wait to see that shit from Eddie. And Eddie know he got to do it. That's why he ain't been doing stand-up. That's why it took him a minute to come back. He's like, you got to work it out. Eddie know what he needs to do, you know. And and that's what we was talking about, like, you know, with the other comics. I got a problem with people like, man, Eddie coming back to stand-up. Who ready to see Eddie bomb and all that shit? It's like, really? That's where your energy's at? You want to see him bomb and shit? Like, really? Like, it's like, okay, when he comes back and he starts working the material out, everything ain't gonna be gems and shit, but I don't really even think it's possible for Eddie to bomb. Eddie's one of them people that's just so naturally funny. He makes it look easy. Like, Eddie's funny in conversation. Like, even on his, like, promotional, I'm doing interviews because I'm coming back to host an SNL, them shits have been funny, and he ain't really trying. He's just being himself. He's being his irreverent self, cussing and everything. And it's awesome. Like, I think sometimes people just be jealous of other people's life, and they're jealous of their natural abilities. And, you know, especially since we're all in the same line of work, certain people wish they had that because they don't. You know, so they just talk a bunch of shit. But it's like, dude, even when Eddie was doing that interview with Seinfeld, they was like, are you nervous about it? He's like, no, I'm pretty sure that I'm funny at this point. Like, at this point, you know, I don't think I would have had the career I've had if I wasn't funny. Like, I think I'm pretty sure at this point I'm funny. I don't think I need to validate that, or I'm pretty sure at this point, at this particular juncture, I think I got this. But, you know, but even in that place, and even in that knowing that I got this, he still knows, man, but that's not how stand-up works. You got to go, you got to work it out, da-da-da. And you know who else is awesome at that shit? Seinfeld. When Seinfeld took that break and Seinfeld came back and then Seinfeld made Comedian, same shit. Seinfeld took the time and went through the whole process. But that's like, when you're a real comedian, though, it's hot, though. It's a little, like, nerve-wracking because you want everything to work. You know what I mean? But it's still that process of, man, okay, time to take it to the stage and figure it out. You know, you get your 60 seconds of grace. He's like, I'm Seinfeld. I might get 5 minutes because they happy to see me. But then you got to really come with some shit. Like, you have to. Like, that's how this works. Nobody's above it, ever. And that's what's kind of exciting, that it makes you work for it. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like anything else. Like, it's kind of like those relationships where people go, I don't want it if it's that easy. You know, it's kind of like that. And it's like, I don't even feel like with the type of excellence Eddie's surrounded by comedy wise at this point, I don't even think they're gonna let him be garbage. I don't first of all, I don't think Eddie's going to be garbage. I don't think Eddie has the desire to be garbage. Those two things alone makes me excited, because I'm excited for what I'm going to see. Like, I don't think Eddie's going to be garbage. Like, because just in his natural sensibilities, he's one of those people that's naturally gifted. But two, he knows what's at stake. He ain't trying to be garbage. He's going to go for it. But then, three, he's surrounded by so much excellence. That's why you got to surround yourself with goddamn excellence. I don't even think they're going to let him be, they're going to challenge him to, go there. I don't think with Seinfeld around alone, based off of what we all witnessed Seinfeld do and him coming back, and they started together and they obviously were like really cool. That's one. But then you got Chappelle. Then you got, like I said, I lost respect for him, but comedy wise, he's one of the greats. You got Chris Rock. Rock ain't gonna, like, Eddie Murphy is like Chris Rock's idol. Like, they're not gonna let him be regular. They're not gonna let him be trash. Never. So this shit about to be like, it's like, oh my God, it's like a childhood. Like, I've never gotten to see him live. I never thought he was gone so long. And I never thought I'd see this in my lifetime. Like, this is gonna be great. Like, I'm so excited. Like, I'm like, I gotta get my life together so I think I'm going. What? And we was all talking about that. Like, it's just like, it's gonna be awesome. It's so amazing. I'm gonna get some headlines together for y'all. And then, because I didn't even, this is like 2 pages of jokes with new shit in here that I haven't even done. And then I have like this whole page of news stories, because I didn't even talk about Yo Gotti and Jay-Z suing Mississippi, which I think I think that's solid. I think I like when our people get involved in activism and using our platforms for good, because they gonna just take your money anyway and do what they want to do. So you might as well use your voice for something. But yeah. Serena Williams got like a four level kudos from me. A 3-level kudos for me, and then her and her sister got 2 levels. Spike Lee, I didn't talk about that. He's the first black president of Cannes Film Festival. I ain't talked about Tiger Woods, and he's 137 paternity, or he got court ordered for 137 paternity tests. Tiger, what kind of raw fucking is you doing? What? Tiger, the hell? 137. What you do? You went to a spa and just blacked out? What the fuck is going on? 137. Paternity orders? Tiger, what? Them Wilt Chamberlain numbers, that's like crazy. I mean, I don't even know what's normal in terms of the normal amount of people going, I might have a baby by you. You know what I mean? Like, that's probably like, I guess, 10 would be excessive. 20 would be excessive. 50 would be excessive. 100 would be like, yo, what the hell? But you're 130. There's 37 of them over 100. What the fuck you doing? Tiger. Elon didn't beat your ass enough. No, Elin is how you say her name. She ain't beat the shit out of you. That baseball bat stopped working. She ain't. Cause she done moved on and found her another little, millionaire, billionaire, whoever. But she beat the shit out. She beat the brakes off of Tiger. You cheating on me? She beat the shit out of him. 137. Tiger, wrap it up, nigga. What the fuck? That's how you got caught the first time. You don't know how to use burner phones. What the hell is wrong with you? I'll see what other news stories is going on. But yeah, those are those. I'm gonna talk about stand up. Oh yeah, Kanye. I forgot about that one. Over here. And then oh yes. Mike Tyson been dropping some jewels lately and I love it. Tourism. Mike Tyson been dropping jewels, baby. I love it because it's one of those, don't count me out, motherfucker. We all on our journey. Like, that's what I love about it. It's like, don't count me out. We on our journey. Yeah. I got a face tattoo. Something I decided to do. Yeah, I bit a motherfucker in the face. Yeah, it happens. But we on our journey. I was going through some shit. I'm good now. I'm here for it. All right, y'all. Let me get to this because it's 6:37 and I got some stuff I got to do. But yeah, good morning. Good morning. I'll holler at y'all. Virgo Viewpoint. Anchor.fm/Arona's Virgo Viewpoint. AARONAS Virgo Viewpoint. I'm about to sneeze. Okay, yep. And then I'm putting out the full 20-minute set on Patreon. I have to put it together in my phone because I have the whole voice memo in here. So I'm going to cut it together real quick and upload it. The other 20-minute set, the clean one, the church one, is up in there. And see, that's another reason why I want to put this one out. It's a big difference. It's a huge difference. Huge. But it also, it gives insight, you feel me, of how you have to cater to your crowds. Your crowds are the ones that pay you, Even though the show that I did, like, the other day, that was an unpaid show. That was just a show to get back out there. A show that I was doing to do it. But your audience, they're your clients, the same way as, if you were a tailor, you know what I'm saying? You're tailoring clothes, you're making it for your client, the body type of your client. You have to make sure that it suits them and it's, that type of thing. Cosmetology, your clients, you're doing their hair or a barber, you're doing their hair or cutting their hair, and you want to make sure it's a good look for them. You want to make sure that, it complements their look. You want to make sure you're doing it right. Just all of those things. Comedy is that too, and so what's so interesting is, for the people that sign up for Patreon or whatever, when you see both of them, you'll see, it'll give you a little bit more insight of, like, how different we got to be and how it works. Even if you're a new comic, and you just in there to look around and see what's what, you'll see it's like you have to have, you got to have a bunch of tools in your arsenal. So, and that's to encourage somebody. That's all. So, I was just going to say that. What is this? Oh, okay. Okay, Catherine Zeta-Jones. She looks fabulous. Anyway. Oh, yeah. So today is the day they celebrate Martin Luther King. Okay, that's cool. Why are they over there? That's weird. Okay, let me pay attention to what's going on over here. Thank y'all for joining me this morning. Good morning. How y'all doing? Let's have a great day. It's Monday. Start a new week. Start new things, new blessings, all of that. Let's get it. Bye.